Welcome back, listener. Let's continue with the chapter 5th, which is of the character named Zara Mirza. Zara had 15 cases to file that day, each of them more boring than the last. Broken arms, sprained ankles, torn ligaments, etc. etc. Her boss, the enigmatic and brilliant Dr. Arman Kashyap, was not fond of filing reports, and that's why he had the most number of interns working for him at one time. Usually, interns worked in pairs, but Arman was never a big fan of roles. No one knew what he enjoyed more, floating them or challenging the hospital authorities afterwards. If you work in pairs, you get complacent about what you do. If you work alone, you become cautious from the word go. Arman had said on the first day. Zara had not been able to forget those words. She used to check every medicine thrice, sometimes even more, before administering it to any patient, even if it was just a cough syrup. You look busy. A fellow intern walked into the room. The interns had been assigned. Though Zara usually worked in the opulent office of her boss, his overbearing presence used to make her jittery. The presence of any man made her feel jittery. She clearly remembered her first day in the hospital with men crawling everywhere. Patients, doctors, ward boys, their eyes like slithering snakes on her body, undressing her, violating her, and rubbing their naked, sweaty, hairy bodies against her in their heads. In those moments, all her latent hatred for men bubbled over, and she had a severe mental breakdown. Zara had never been in a co ed school or college, and it was on her insistence. Staying away from men was the only way she could banish the horrors of her past. I have a lot of filing to do, she said, trying to act busy. Ever since she had started her internship, an alarming number of interns, resident doctors, and senior doctors had showered her with attention. It fueled her need for sleeping pills and antidepressants. Your boss is an asshole, the fellow intern said. He's not that bad. People are jealous because he is good and young. She defended him. His searching eyes made her feel uncomfortable, like she had been doused with a bucket full of rotting maggots. He is reckless and has no regard for rules. He doesn't file reports or keep a history of the medicines he prescribes. The other doctors keep mum, but I am sure many patients have died under his watch because of his crazy ideas, he argued. Zara noticed the restlessness in the intern's eyes and his body language. Or was it lust? Maybe he was trying the primal old fashioned way to get her into bed. Take out the threat, the opposition, and any other contender who is trying to bed who you want to bed first. Zara wanted to run away. No, I have got to fight this. Like every rape victim, Zara too had read all the books, documents, reports, and guides that helped victims move on with their lives. Funny, no book prescribed sleeping pills, Xanax, or Valium because that's what worked for her. He gets the job done. He wraps up the most number of cases. If other doctors are men, he is God. Plus, he has now me for filing his reports. He doesn't need to do that anymore. Zara defended him further, trying not to look at the intern. She was agitated. She could sense him licking his lips greedily. The maggots had entered her clothes. They were everywhere, small, slithering, and slimy. The rules are made by doctors much more experienced than him. Experience doesn't count for everything, Zara grumbled. She could feel his hands on her thighs. The maggots reached her face. They entered her nose, her ears. She was losing it. Fine, go defend him, he said irritably. Okay, anyway, junket. Want to go for lunch? No, I don't. Will you let me work, please? She yelled. Fine. The intern spluttered and left the room. Zara's thickly veined eyes followed him outside the room. She wanted him dead. The maggots were gone. She still felt filthy. Zara had lunch with a girl intern that afternoon, like the many afternoons before that. She liked her. She was sweet, caring, and very hardworking. She liked that. But the best part about her was she didn't talk about boys, or marriage, or family. Hey, listen, she said. Yes, the girl looked up from her files. What do you know about Lou Gehrig's disease? ALS? She asked nervously, even though she knew. Fatal, multi organ failure, a nerve related problem. You can't really expect a patient to live beyond 5 years. Why are you asking? Do you have a patient? Yes, a girl. A girl? It's not seen in anyone less than 50 years. She's 19, first year, Maulana Medical School. Are you serious? She asked, shocked. Zara handed over the file to the girl, who pored through it from behind her blue rimmed spectacles. Yes, she's getting admitted here. It says here she experienced a lack of sensation during an examination. I just googled her name. She was All India rank 3 this year. That's sad, she whimpered and handed the file back to her. It was no secret that the patient was dying. I know. I hate these diseases. No underlying cause and absolutely no fault of the patient. I wonder how she must be feeling, Zara said and sighed. Don't get too attached to the patient. Remember what Dr. Mehra taught us. Be emotional about the disease, not the patient. Yeah, right, she replied and shook her head. I am serious. Zara kept mum and they continued to eat their food in silence. She flipped through Pihu's file to go over the basic details of the disease progression in her case. She spotted something very uncommon, if not downright strange. None of the effects of ALS on the body are reversible, but Pihu had regained some use of her hands and her speech had become clearer over the last few months. How can that be? Can that be the reason why Arman is trying to treat a person whose death sentence has already been written? Is she the answer to the disease? She knew that Arman was on the research panel of doctors looking for a cure for ALS. She made a mental note to ask him. After all, he did admit to being an external consultant to the patient. There was something definitely amiss with this situation. Just as she finished eating, her phone rang. It's someone asking for the doctor of Dushyant Roy. Dr. Arman is not available. Should I put the call through? The voice from the other side said. Sure, she said and heard the call transfer beep. Hello, this is Zara Mirza. Hi, hello, doctor. I'm Kajal. I wanted to know about a patient admitted in your hospital. Dushyant Roy? Oh, yes, he has a liver problem. Are you a relative? She asked. Is it serious? He will live, Zara said. Serious but curable. May I know who you are? The line disconnected.